All right, LaVar Arrington, you expect Trey Lance to take Jimmy G's job this season?
I expect Trey Lance to settle in to the 49ers starting quarterback position this season. I do believe it will happen, but when it will happen, well, I think that a lot will play into that. Listen, there's the overstated, driven home point of Jimmy Garoppolo staying healthy. That's what everybody wants to talk about with Jimmy Garoppolo. Can he stay healthy? He doesn't stay healthy. But when he is healthy, he wins. And when he isn't healthy, they lose. There's one interesting piece of information here. Kyle Shanahan, he's been winning with San Francisco 49ers when he has Jimmy Garoppolo. He is, a very, very impressive 22-8 under Kyle Shanahan with Jimmy Garoppolo starting. With all others, JMac, Ric Bucher, measly 7-27. Oh, wow. Why would we get so far removed from the greatness of the relationship between Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan and their ability to win? Sure, we can talk about the injuries, but as this season gets underway, you're talking about a team that has had to overcome injuries, not just to Jimmy Garoppolo, to other guys, Bosa, Debo Samuels. There have been injuries on this team. So there are a lot of guys coming back off of injuries. There are a lot of reasons why they are considered to be a contender to go back to the playoffs and possibly contend for the NFC West. And Jimmy Garoppolo is a part of that equation. If you take him out, then maybe, just maybe, that losing record that Kyle Shanahan has without Jimmy Garoppolo rears its ugly face back at the 49ers fans, looks at Kyle Shanahan in the face and says, why'd you do this? It's premature. You got trade value in Jimmy Garoppolo. You have built-in equity value with Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo comes in as the incumbent starter. He will be the starter. However, there is the idea that maybe Trey Lance might have to make that move into the starting position based upon injury concerns, injuries happening, necessity, so to speak. So I do think that they will continue to work Trey Lance into the mix, situationally speaking, and how it goes, wins and losses, effectiveness at the position, frustration or lack thereof, satisfaction, contentment by the head coach will dictate if Trey Lance gets more and more as the season goes on. But if I'm a betting man, I would predict that something is going to happen during the course of this season that would lead to Trey Lance getting his opportunity to be the starter for this team.
Where and how Kyle Shanahan lost his confidence in Jimmy Garoppolo, I cannot answer. I just know that he has. He doesn't move up to get Trey Lance if that hadn't happened. And so, yes, I do believe that Trey Lance is going to take Jimmy G's job this season because I've seen this movie before, and I've actually seen it in 49ers uniforms. It was just different actors in the main roles. Instead of Jimmy G and Trey Lance, I saw it with Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick. It's not that Alex Smith did anything wrong. He was 6-2-1 when they made the move to Colin Kaepernick. The big error that he made is that he came up short on the biggest stage, on the NFC or in the NFC Championship. Jimmy G suffered the same in losing in the Super Bowl and not being able to make the big play that turned things around. So, much like Jim Harbaugh saw in Colin Kaepernick an it factor and ability to make that big play that wins the big game, the same can be said for what Kyle Shanahan clearly sees in Trey Lance. And he knows he's going to need that sooner rather than later. And Jimmy G, even though he came back last year and played, he doesn't always win. He was 3-3 last year. So if there was ever any opportunity for him to demonstrate that, yeah, you know what, I learned my lesson from the disappointment in the Super Bowl, I can be a different quarterback. He didn't show it to Kyle Shanahan. And as a result, Shanahan made the move to Trey Lance. And I just don't see a way in which he's not going to pull the trigger on that any more than Jim Harbaugh waited in spite of whatever Alex Smith did.
Wow. This is all sorts of insanity. Let me just try to understand what you two are saying here. Trey Lance will start this season. They're going to take a guy who is 21 years old, all right? He did not play college football last year except for one game. He's basically played one real football game in 19 months. You're going to insert him as the starting quarterback on a team with very good Super Bowl odds. I happen to have been in Vegas last weekend, put some shekels on the 49ers to win the Super Bowl. So you got a Super Bowl team. You got the shell of a team. You got a great coach. And you're going to put a 21-year-old quarterback in at starter? Folks, there's no chance Trey Lance is starting in the first half of the season, and I will wager that he will not start a game this season unless Garoppolo's hurt. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, as LaVar said, 22-8 as a starter. If you guys have looked at the schedule for the Niners, it is the easiest schedule in the NFL when you look at the opponent win totals. They open against the two worst teams in the NFC, Detroit and Philadelphia. Okay? They're going to steamroll both those teams. They're bigger than a touchdown favorite on the road in both those games. Jimmy Garoppolo, let me just remind you guys, he did not lose the Super Bowl. You know, Rick, you can go on and say he didn't make the big play. Listen, he did not lose the Super Bowl. He gave his defense, an awesome defense, a 10-point lead with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They ran out of gas, and then Pat Mahomes tore them apart. Okay? Jimmy Garoppolo, let's remind everybody, did not lose the Super Bowl. He can win a Super Bowl with the 49ers. Okay? He's got the team, and this whole 3-3 last year, Ric Bucher, you're better than that, okay? Did they have George Kittle? Did they have Deebo Samuel? Where was the entire defensive line? This Jimmy Garoppolo slander from both gentlemen here, basically everybody across the country, is a little bit harsh, okay? They had nobody last year.
JMac, it does not matter how you think they lost the Super Bowl. All it matters is how Kyle Shanahan thought they lost the Super Bowl. And quite clearly, Kyle Shanahan thought they lost the Super Bowl because Jimmy G wasn't a good enough quarterback. Otherwise, there is no reason to spend all the assets that they did in order to move up to get Trey Lance, a guy who, to your point, the only thing he has going for him in the eyes of Shanahan is the fact that he has that it factor, that big play makeability. And you can say that, hey, he hasn't played over the last year or played one game in North Dakota State. But the fact is, he's given glimpses in this preseason of everything we expected, in spite of the fact that he's only played one real game over
Rick,
the last year.
He's taken 6 sacks in 2 preseason games. He looks like a deer in headlights because Kyle Shanahan's giving him all the chances to win this job. All the starting reps in practice, first team. And he's terrible in the preseason. He is afraid to make the plays. He's a young kid. He's taken 6 sacks in 2 games. The guy's holding onto the ball. He's afraid right now.
Kyle Shanahan has told you exactly what he was looking for, which is, I know he's going to make mistakes. I want to see how he recovers from those mistakes. And indeed, 1 for 5, starts out 1 for 5, throws a pick, and then turns around and leads them to 2 touchdowns. That's exactly what he wanted to see, and that's exactly what he doesn't feel he has from Jimmy Garoppolo, because Jimmy Garoppolo makes mistakes, and then he gets cautious or tentative as a result. Kyle Shanahan knows that does not work. And now I understand why you're pushing this so hard, JMac, but I have to question the bet that you made with the assumption that Jimmy G is going to win the bet for you. The last time we saw Jimmy G in a Super Bowl, he was losing. The 49ers were losing. You're betting they're going to win with the same quarterback? You should hope that they make the move to Trey Lance, because that's the only hope that you have of realizing your bet.
Think about this, guys. I think this is a more simplified conversation than what is being made. First of all, I did not slander Jimmy Garoppolo. I gave him his propers. And I do believe that there will be some reason why Jimmy Garoppolo ends up not being the starting quarterback for this team. I think a lot of it has to do with the development of Trey Lance, which goes to your point, Mac. I think you also got to take into consideration that Jimmy Garoppolo, for what it's worth, His only drawback, in my humble estimation, that is glaring, is his health. Like, some people think he hasn't made the throws. Whether we want to debate the Super Bowl or not, at one point in time, the Super Bowl, the eventual Super Bowl champions had to overcome a 10-point deficit, that's two possessions if you count them. So however you fall on that, it is what it is. But Jimmy Garoppolo is the person that was at quarterback that got them there. Jimmy Garoppolo is still going to end up being the starting quarterback. By all information, seemingly, he's going to be that guy. There's a reason why he's starting. You know, if Trey Lance was truly that guy that was going to unseat Jimmy Garoppolo based upon what he was capable of doing as a player, then he would be no different than Zach Wilson. He'd be no different than Trevor Lawrence. He would be in the situation that those guys are in. You know why? Because he got drafted right up there with those guys. In fact, he went before Zach Wilson. So it's a very simple conversation. If Trey Lance isn't starting right now, it's because Trey Lance isn't ready to start right now. And you have to keep it to that point. There's another main point that goes into this that's very important that you should know. November 2nd, that's a very important date. November 2nd represents week 8. That's going out of week 8. That is the trade deadline in the National Football League. If we see Trey Lance in his situational plays, if we see him play well, if we see Jimmy Garoppolo play well, but not looking as though he is a world beater and all of the criticisms that are lobbed his way intensified by this coach and coaching staff, then look for something to possibly happen before week 8, before that November 2nd deal, where we all know there's the possibilities in Dallas. There are the possibilities in other places where there may be a quarterback that is needed of the caliber that Jimmy Garoppolo is, where you can get a tremendous trade value for him going there. So there's also the value of what Jimmy Garoppolo brings to your team in terms of the value that you could receive by dealing him if Trey Lance truly is that guy that can step in and be the starter.
So LaVar made a good point. He said, not ready. I just want to remind you, Rick, I know Super Bowl is the goal for the Niners, okay? The youngest quarterbacks to ever start a Super Bowl were 23 years old, Ben Roethlisberger and Dan Marino. You know what they had in common? They were 3-year starters in college football. 3 years. Trey Lance started 1 season in Podunk, North Dakota, okay? He's not facing All-Americans like Dan Marino. No disrespect to North Dakota State. But Again,
well, he's not.
Ben Roethlisberger and Dan Marino were NFL ready when they came in. They could take a team at 23 to the Super Bowl. Trey Lance is 21 years old, Rick. You're not winning a Super Bowl with a 21-year-old starting quarterback. That's just a fact in the NFL. Jared Goff got there at 24. Patrick Mahomes, I believe, at 24 as well. 21 is, this kid is wet behind the ears. He's not ready to win a Super Bowl. He's not ready to start week 1, even against the lowly Detroit Lions.
I'm not suggesting that he should start week 1. In fact, it makes a whole lot of sense for Kyle Shanahan in the scenario that LaVar pointed that he would play Jimmy Garoppolo now because they are going to play weaker opponents. And you know who's going to look really good?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy Garoppolo is going to look really good. So that when it comes to November 8th or any time before that, when Trey Lance is taking over as a starting quarterback, they can then flip Jimmy Garoppolo for more than they possibly would get if they benched him and nobody had seen him since he was 3-3 last year. So they're only increasing his value. And JMac, I'm not here to debate with you whether Trey Lance is going to lead them to a Super Bowl or not. This is not my decision. I'm just telling you that looking at what Kyle Shanahan has done and the way that he's talked about Trey Lance, he plans on playing Trey Lance. He believes that Trey Lance is the quarterback that is going to take him where he wants to go. I will say it again. Alex Smith did nothing to lose the job. I heard this exact same argument about Colin Kaepernick. Why are we going to him? Why are we replacing Alex Smith? It's disrespectful. He deserves more. It doesn't matter. Jim Harbaugh had it in his mind that Colin Kaepernick had the goods to get him where he wanted to go. And did they win the Super Bowl? No. but they did get a step closer than what Alex Smith was able to do. Kyle Shanahan looks to be doing the same thing. Was Jimmy Garoppolo instrumental in getting them to the Super Bowl? Yes, absolutely was. Did we win the Super Bowl? No, we didn't. So I think I have a quarterback who can take us that last step. Whether he's right or wrong is beside the point with what we're debating, which is he going to pull the trigger on his decision? And I damn well expect that he will.
I can't imagine the Niners 7-2 start and then they bench or trade Garoppolo for Trey Lance.
6-2-1 with Alex Smith and they pulled the trigger. 6-2-1.
next.
What's the difference between that and 7-2?